listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, bringing you the latest news and commentary on baseball.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out! The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball!
Hockey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup! The Flyers win the Stanley Cup!
College football.
The Big Ten championship lies on a measurement.
Did he get it? No! He didn't get it! Penn State holds!
They brought back the fun, they brought back the excitement, and now they've brought back a Big Ten championship. The Penn State Nittany Lions are Big Ten champions.
And the NFL.
1:16 to go, 41 yards. Cardona to Allen. Skowski. 6 titles, 9 appearances. How about the drive to go close it out? You see Tom Brady. Enjoy him, folks. You're never, ever going to see it again. Not in our lifetime. Nope. So here's Zerline, part 1, 48 yards. And we'll end it. No good. The rain continues. Yes, it does. They've got to snap it one more time. The ball will end up in the hands of Tom Brady on the kneel down. And there it is. The dynasty continues.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffa.
Well, isn't that fantastic?
No. I was complaining to you the whole time it was playing.
Yeah. Well, I told you to live it up last year. Well,
Yeah, but I got sidetracked by other things we were working on before the show, and it didn't really hit me until I'm like, wait, what am I hearing? What am I hearing?
No
Also, what am
longer.
I not hearing? What am I not hearing?
Yeah, Eagles' entrance is gone.
See, you could have at least set this up so that in my ears it would play the Eagles one, and then I would. Let's be honest. If you did that, I would never know the difference. Like, if you just hit a second thing and it played in my ears, like, I'd just be dumb and happy, right?
Yeah, well, how is that different than any other day?
Wow.
Ignorance is
Happy.
bliss, my
The happy
friend.
part is the key.
So, we're back after a little hiatus there because, well, you know, like we always say, we don't want to go up against the NFL in the Super Bowl. We give them that night.
They had enough issues.
Well, we take it back here this next week, although we are competing against another football league now, and I'm actually missing my team playing at the moment.
I haven't picked a team yet. I know we talked about it, and I said I think I had a team, but I don't know.
I got the hat on. The Alliance of American Football kicked off last night with 2 games, and they got 2 more games today. One already wrapped up, but the main event is tonight, just because it features the team that I'm pulling for, number 1. And if you aren't familiar with the AAF, it is a completely separate professional football league from the NFL, but there is a lot of NFL flavor attached to it, primarily in the coaching ranks. The roster is riddled with, I think, 70 to 80% of former NFL players, be it, you know, guys that were starters, backups, practice squad, whatever. So there's a lot of, you know, big-time college players.
I know there's at least one first rounder. I saw Trent Richardson's there.
Yeah, he was playing for the Birmingham Steel, who demolished the Memphis Express today. Unfortunate, because the starting quarterback for the Memphis Express is Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like that debut went to his liking or Memphis's liking as well.
On the
But
bright side, I don't think Mike Singletary dropped his pants. So
not yet.
he's already,
It's early.
right,
though.
he's already ahead of where he was in San Francisco.
So the AAF has 8 teams, primarily all in southern locations because, well, you're playing February, March, and early April. Not exactly conducive to playing in outdoor college stadiums every game. It will be a 10-week season, 10 weeks, 10 games for each team, and then they'll have, I believe, a 4-team playoff with semifinal games, and then the championship, all wrapping up right before, I believe, the NFL will announce their schedule for 2019 and the 2019 NFL Draft. But the hope is that this becomes an NFL developmental league, because the NFL doesn't have one of those. They pull from the college ranks, but they have no control over anything that the NCAA does and how they operate. And the AAF almost could become what the AHL and ECHL and those leagues are to the NHL, or you could look at it single, double, and AAA baseball is to MLB. NFL Europe ended, I think close to, if not more than a decade ago, and that kind of put the end to any kind of developmental league that the NFL had. But the AAF is fun, it's exciting, it's entertaining, it's still football as you know it, and it was great. Last night, Kelly and her sister walked in. The girls were asleep. They got back from a trip, and they were like, wait, what are you watching? I'm like, football. And Kelly's like, what? No, the Super Bowl was last week. Football's over. I'm like, no, this is week 1, baby.
Yeah, we're starting all over again.
Yeah, so I'm pulling for the Arizona Hotshots, and I can say because of, Reading, PA missed out. It wasn't chosen as a host city.
Maybe when we look at expansion.
But I can actually say that the cliche that goes around, especially around March Madness, is choosing teams by mascots and colors worked in my favor because I looked at the 8 teams and I was drawn to the Arizona Hotshots because it's basically a dedication to their firefighters. The famous Hotshot firefighters. There's been movies made about them, and I just thought that was really cool. My runner-up team, my second place, was the San Diego Fleet because of the huge naval and maritime presence in San Diego. I love the Fleet's jerseys. So anytime that I can choose based on color, mascots, and jerseys and designs, I'm going to take advantage of that. And hey, when you don't have local ties, it's all up for grabs. So Arizona,
as opposed to Birmingham's logo, it looked like straight up out of a TV commercial. It was just black and silver.
Well, it's like our buddy Zach Williams mentioned last night when I was posting about it. He was surprised that I wasn't pulling for the Memphis Express, and I would say that they were probably third on my list because I like the Americana, the red, white, and blue, and the plain logo, and Hackenberg was the quarterback and everything, but I don't know. There's something about I thought Arizona Hotshots was cool, and I also really enjoyed the San Diego Fleet.
I'm going to have to look at it a little bit more. I did tune in to some of the games.
I
had
watched
it on a little bit last
quarters,
night, and I turned it off, and then I had it on for a little bit today and turned it off. But it was more football than I would have gotten to see on this Sunday, so I'm not complaining. It's just I have to kind of look at my teams and figure it out, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you got 8 options, and you don't have to.
I'm probably going to look and see who is supposed to be the rival of the teams you like.
Well, that's what I figured you would go that direction. Yeah. So, surprisingly, yesterday or the other day, I think Thursday or Friday, I was reading actual previews and write-ups of ESPN, CBS, The Athletic, all of the big national media companies have been covering it, including also Pro Football Talk from NBC because of the NFL connections there. They're interested to see how this league works. But they were doing previews and such, and apparently the Hotshots are the number 1 team, and I was like, wow, I picking my colors and mascots does work.
Front runner, I guess. Right?
So yeah, you know me. I just jump all around.
I guess football owes you one with the Dolphins. So.
This is true. I mean, I have been struggling in my fandom for the better part of 2 decades now.
It's all right. No, it is. It is interesting, and it's interesting to see, like you said, some of the names that are there. I'm intrigued to see over the next year or 2, hopefully an extended period here, do we start to see names transfer over? Are there guys who, make it onto a roster?
Well, actually, we saw it already with Josh Johnson and the Redskins.
Yeah.
He didn't even get to the regular season in the AAF. He got called up to the NFL.
But, can we see those? And, that I think is going to be a key. So, it'll be interesting to see. I'm really intrigued to see how the coaching will go here because you have I don't know, and how players are going to be distributed amongst the teams and stuff. I don't know enough about how that works yet, but from the stuff I'm reading, I do really like what I saw. I know there's some rule differences and things like that, and I really like that.
The 2 things I want to bring up quickly before we move on: the rule difference is there's no kickoffs. Every team starts at the 25.
Whatever.
There are no extra points. It's all 2-point conversions. There are no onside kicks. If you want to kick it onside,
I love this rule.
It's from, I think, your own 28, 4th and 12. If you get it, you keep the ball.
Right.
If not, the other team gets it, inside your 35, essentially, somewhere in that
area. But honestly,
area.
your chances are probably higher than what the success rate is on
absolutely.
onside kicks now in the NFL with the rules.
Talked to offensive coordinators, quarterbacks, and wide receivers. They want the ball in their hands, not on the kicker and guys trying to dive for the ball.
Right.
So, yeah, it's interesting. They have
I really like that rule.
Differences, replay differences, and this is kind of going to be what I hope turns into an NFL development league, both for the players, coaches, and
I think it could benefit both parties
officiating.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Like,
but the other thing that I thought was interesting about the AAF is their financial structure in terms of what they're doing for the players.
Yes.
So it's a guaranteed 3-year contract, $250,000. Not chump change, and they're getting paid to play, which is what they wanted.
Right.
They also are getting continuing education stipend so that they can go to finish a degree or to get a higher degree, take more classes. There was a third part of that. Now, of course, I'm going to draw a blank, but the big one was the guaranteed salary for 3 years and the continuing education.
Well, and while I'm sure some of the money is TV with CBS,
NFL Network,
right? I'm sure, like, I saw some of the stuff like that. There are some rather wealthy, powerful people that are supporting this. And, again, we've seen that before, and it hasn't always worked. However, you think, like, each time you hope that people that get like that don't always get like that from bad business decisions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, they're backed by Charlie Ebersol and Bill Polian. Like, these are heavyweights in the NFL, pro football.
I would really like to see this turn into a bona fide developmental league. Like, I think that could benefit everyone. You could give some of those guys a place to go, that like leave early and maybe shouldn't have, or end up they get hurt and don't have a place to go. I just think there's lots of benefits for both sides if they can develop this into it. Now, my fear, I fear that the league won't be able to get off the ground enough. Like, they have a great start. Like, I'm not going to take that away from them. My other fear is that they get successful and then the NFL basically, like, forces their hand or buys them out or does something like that.
I feel like it's different,
to
though,
do
because having the games on NFL Network, obviously, for a price there.
So. I like that they're not trying to compete with the NFL.
Right.
Like,
well,
they're not.
That's what they're saying. Like, you start right after the Super Bowl, so there's no downtime, and you go up to the draft. What are you overshadowing?
Right, and here's the thing. People are talking about, like, XFL is supposed to start in 2020.
Yeah.
That is, by all their admissions, that is trying to compete with the NFL.
Right.
This is trying to be, like, kind of ride the wave of the NFL, you know? And I think that's a much better business strategy, is to not go head-to-head with one of the biggest and most powerful, like, organizations in...
It needs to be symbiotic.
Right. Certainly in the entertainment industry in the U.S. So, yeah, I think this is much better. And like you said, they have a lot of guys in there calling shots who have, like, strong NFL ties still. So, yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to kind of see how this plays out.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited about the AAF. Football haters won't be, and maybe the wives of football fans won't be if people get attached to it. But I think it's excellent. If I can watch more football, I'm going to watch more football. So you watch it from end of August through early February. Now you can watch it until end of April. Yeah. And then we're getting geared up for so much else going on, and that's why this show has pretty much become NFL centric. Yeah. But we do have other stuff coming up. And maybe we should mention...
So both these teams have cool uniforms. I'm not
Arizona Hotshots, Salt Lake Stallions. Yeah. So why don't we mention what's going to be happening next week? So we are actually celebrating our 8th anniversary tonight. We started broadcasting this week. We started broadcasting the show this week in 2011, and actually was today... 8 years ago that we started our testing process when we had just one little microphone and Blog Talk Radio, no video. Passed it back and forth. So that was fun. And then about 2.5 years in, a little less, we got to our 100th episode, which was a lot of fun because we did a live show. We had about probably close to 50 people turn out at the West London United Methodist Church. We had food and T-shirts and a fun interactive time, and we had a special guest, and that was Chad Henne, the former Wilson and Michigan quarterback, now playing over a decade in the NFL. And
that's crazy.
Now next week on episode 273. Chad's going to be back with us. He's going to join us live in studio here with us, and we're going to have a fun, kind of anniversary special here. We were planning on doing a listener special, and we're going to continue on that path because, I think it would kind of be cool to pepper Chad with some non-football related questions. So anything around baseball, hockey, college basketball, college football, and then obviously we will be taking questions specifically for Chad and his experiences at Wilson, Michigan, college football, anything related to the NFL, and his over a decade experience now at the highest level of professional football. So we want to make sure everyone's aware and is excited for our show next Sunday night, February 17th at 8:30, right here on Facebook Live. You can listen also on Mixlr. And, check out our website, jmnjrradio.com, for more information. But very excited to have Chad join us once again. We refer to him as a friend of the show, having him on that one time back on episode 100. But now, next week, he will be back with us live. So get your questions in. Send them to us via email. Actually, it's probably a great time to pull up the contact information for those of you watching live or later on YouTube. The email is joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. You can also leave comments for us and for Chad on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. I don't know that we'll have the live phone line open next week because we know how excited people were for us to interview him nearly 6 years ago now. I was in June 2013 for our 100th episode. But we will definitely be soliciting questions on Facebook and email. So get those questions for us, for our listener special, and specifically for Chad Henne, as he will be here with us in the studio next Sunday. So let's take a look at what's going on here, because we got away with it before, so why we should now be any different. So the Super Bowl was last week. That happened. And if you were paying attention to our intro, which we talked about at the beginning, as Justin was nearly in tears, the Eagles' intro is gone because the Patriots won Super Bowl 53, defeating the Rams 13-3. Incredibly boring game. Didn't come out the way most of the country wanted. Justin, I don't think, really cared who won in the end, but
I was okay with the way the game went. Honestly, because, we talked about it before. And I know people are calling me crazy, but I feel like I was way out in front of that, and then we started seeing it other places.
It was popping up for sure.
But, I'm not saying like they heard me talk about it.
You were not.
But I feel like
one.
when people thought about it, it makes sense. That is an issue. And but anyway, yeah. So Brady won another one. You do.
Yay.
Well, yeah. What's it matter? I did see stuff, and I find it interesting. It doesn't always work like that, but it just everybody, was running after Sean McVay's coaching tree, this year, and there's Doug Peterson beat Tom Brady in Tom Brady's best Super Bowl statistical performance with a backup quarterback, and Sean McVay lost to Tom Brady in his worst statistical Super Bowl performance, and had all that stuff right there with him. It's more than that, Belichick, they're just a machine. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
they did exactly what you would think. They took it away, and they, nothing really surprised me except that there weren't more points scored. That's it.
Yeah, that is such
that
a
is literally
game.
The only thing that surprised me. They made Jared Goff look terrible. I'm not surprised. They took away the running game. Not surprised.
Well,
Sean McVay kind of took away his own running game. Not surprised. Gronk had a good game. Not surprised. Edelman had a good game. Not surprised.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw this, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have gotten it because he had the best game, and I know it's just different. But it's just kind of crazy to me that the Super Bowl MVP missed the first portion of the season because he was out on a PED violation.
Right.
There are literally guys who aren't in the Hall of Fame in baseball because of because of suspected PED.
Yep.
Right? And yet in the NFL, they won. Now, this isn't new for the NFL. Brian Cushing tested positive. They re-voted for Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he still won. Right. Like, so it's just like accepted, and that's the part that kind of just makes me shake my head. I understand that it's different. I understand that the nature of the sport is different, but it's just one of those things that it still just kind of surprises me that that's actually how that works. You know what I mean? Like, he had the best performance in the Super Bowl. Like, he should have won.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
he was the MVP.
Absolutely. Like, that's I view them as two separate things. It's just pretty interesting how, like, there's all this outcry in one but not the other. But the two sports are completely different. I get that. It's an interesting note to me. That's all.
I think, how about, all right.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, we're watching a little
quick
football
turnaround,
action, but yeah, see, I love their jerseys and their logo. I think
That's
it's
cool.
super cool.
I like the green stripe with the one side and then
it
the number on the
has
other.
AZ at the front.
That is pretty
their
cool.
Secondary logo.
That is pretty cool.
And actually, I picked them before the jerseys and everything came out, and when they came out, I was like, all right, I made a good choice.
I like the orange accent to the yellow
Yeah,
and green.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Well, I think it's all has some basic ties to the uniform.
Oh, I'm
worn
sure.
by the
Yeah.
the hotshot firefighters. So,
That's cool.
but what I was going to say, you see the AZ on the helmet? on the front
yeah,
there?
I didn't get it before.
PADs and sports and all that here. He got in.
He's in.
Good second effort. How about the Clemson thing? You see that?
Yeah, that's really weird.
It is really weird.
And honestly, so some friends of mine were telling me before that, like, the stuff that they tested positive for, and this is back at national championship time, right? Like, just a discussion with some people I know. You can't buy that over the counter. Like, it's not something you could buy by accident.
Right. Well,
And
I mean,
just as an interesting note, like, because there's a lot of things you go into your GNC or your vitamin shop or whatever that are going to get you on that list.
Yeah.
You know, people think, like, when guys in the NFL are suspended, even like Julian Edelman, for example, like, it can be like a protein shake that has stuff in it that you're not allowed to have. Like,
yep.
It is very strict and it's very specific as to what you can and cannot use. So that being said, like, you know, it's not always like these guys are just, like, you know, in some back training room injecting anabolic steroids. You know, like, that's not always the case. It's usually much, much more complex than that. And it was just an interesting note because that little tidbit of information to me was like, that's kind of odd that, like, because to me, now, that's not to say something couldn't have been tainted, you know, like, that they say that happens all the time. Like, they say it happens to the point where guys in these situations where they're tested, they never use the last scoop of stuff. They always save it so that if they get, like, called for it, they can have some to actually send to the testing place and be like, what the heck, you know, it doesn't have what you say. So, like, that's kind of odd. Like, you know, that you're... But anyway, it was an interesting note when they told me that you can't, like, it's highly unlikely you would accidentally just get that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that the players knew, but just it's not something like you would buy at GNC or something like that. Now, then, you know, you have the coach come out and say, and I saw a couple things. So, like, because when I first saw the headline was like, he admits that, you know, whatever, you know, could have happened. I'm like, wait, what? And then I heard somebody say, like, it was more of like a longer thing where he's like, we don't know how it happened. Could it have happened here? Yes. Like, because we don't know how it happened. So, but the idea that they don't know where these players got this in them and that it could be, that they can't rule it out that's pretty crazy.
It is really crazy. When I saw that today, I was like, what is going to happen here?
Nothing.
But yeah, you're right.
Nothing's
It's the
gonna happen.
NCAA. So.
Right.
All right. So, what were your other thoughts of the way the Super Bowl went? What was maybe the most surprising call, non-call via either officiating or play call? Or
I thought officiating did a great job. They just picked it off too. Nice play. Just from the standpoint of, I did not feel that, like, the officiating was a focal point of the game at all. and that is how it should be. Not that it was perfectly officiated. That's not realistic, honestly. But I didn't feel that it was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely... I mean, they set the bar pretty low coming off the week that they had
Right.
2 weeks before. So basically, don't single-handedly decide the game. Anything short of that was going to be a step in the right direction, and they were able to do that. So congratulations on not screwing it up.
Yeah.
I found it interesting. Again, we talked about this. While I kind of preferred that the Patriots win, I certainly wasn't rooting for them, and I didn't really care.
Right.
So, like, it was interesting for me to sit back and just see, like, people on both sides. Like, there were people who were posting things about how the officials were clearly wanted the Rams in the Super Bowl. Were the same people who were posting it like, Tom Brady gets every call. All right, well, what's going to happen now? Like, like, don't get me wrong. I'm like that sometimes. Like, however, it was just, at this moment, I was on the outside kind of looking at it.
Yeah,
but I thought the officiating was fine. I was stunned by some of the mistakes Jared Goff made. So, like, when they had 3rd and 2 at, like, the 45 or inside the 45 of New England, and takes a 14-yard sack from the linebacker who came off of the tight end or the running back.
Right.
How does that happen?
Yeah,
throw that away, you're going for it. You're absolutely going for it.
Texting you, because we weren't watching the game together, unfortunately, and I was texting you, like, basically, how is this happening?
Right.
It was terrible.
They looked bad. Like, the Rams looked bad.
Their defense got it done, but not at the moment that they needed them to. Now, you can't really expect a team to hold someone like the Patriots to... I mean, they only gave up 13 points.
Yeah.
Like, if you, what do we always say? Basically, if you can hold a team to 20 or less, I expect to win.
Yeah, you better win. And it's not like the Patriots' defense was that great. Like, I mean, they played really well. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, man, they just, I don't know. And honestly, it was one of those things where, like, maybe it's because it was the Patriots. Maybe it's just because of the way the game was going. Like, even when it was still one score at the end, like, I wasn't like, oh, the Rams are going to go down and score here. Like, I just didn't believe it at all.
Right.
Like, they picked a heck of a time to have their worst game of the season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it just reinforces or inflamed the Saints fans more.
Oh,
think, like, what a different game it could have been.
Now, it was very different. It was very different. But that's how I felt, was it 2004 when the Buccaneers... or 2003, whenever the Buccaneers beat the Eagles.
I think it was 03 season, 04 Super Bowl.
So when the Buccaneers beat the Eagles and the Buccaneers went and trounced the Raiders, that was the one I was more upset about than when they lost to the Patriots. Patriots were a good team. I just, like, the Raiders were not, and the Eagles were better than Tampa. They'd blown out Tampa a few weeks before, and that was the one that hurt more to me. But that's kind of how I feel like the Saints fans feel.
Yeah.
And they should. The NFL blew it. But like we said, so it goes, man. Like, that's it. And it's unfortunate, but...
Yeah, I got a text from my dad. He said it was the biggest snoozer he could remember in a while. I know a lot of people were saying how disappointed they were in the play on the field, low scoring. As much as people want to say, they like big hits and defense and all that, people generally like to watch offense. They like to see exciting plays.
If you're going to see defense, they want to see, like, a historically great defense, which neither of these teams had or were that night. Like, the Rams have a heck of a lot of names on defense, but they certainly didn't play like a historic defense this year by any stretch of the imagination. Outside of one, Aaron Donald had a historic season. Outside of that, they were mediocre. They were middle of the pack.
Right.
And I know some of that gets distorted when you're scoring a ton. But I don't know. It wasn't that great.
So one of the other thing that always comes up is the commercials.
Yeah.
And I feel like over the last 5 years, they've gotten steadily more disappointing and not that interesting or exciting.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is
Right.
what it
There's a
is.
whole variety of reasons that
Yeah.
kind of go into that, but
Yeah, let's see if do I have this.
some of which like we're kind of demonstrating here. Like we have any video we want on demand, like
Right.
at our fingertips. You know.
I don't know if I have this. Well, we can watch it. I'm not sure if
That's
you're going
all
to be able to hear it. So
This is one of the best.
yeah, so we're going to watch here. Easily one of the best that aired, and coincidentally, it came from the NFL themselves.
Yeah.
So this is the 100th anniversary of the NFL, of pro football as we know it. Started in 1919, and I actually believe it was a year before that some of the biggest team names were created. I believe Green Bay and Chicago were two of the first handful of teams that came about in the late 1910s. Basically right as World War I was coming to a close, people were creating football leagues, football teams. So we're going to take a look here at the NFL's kickoff of their 100th anniversary spectacular, which will culminate with Super Bowl 54 next year in Miami. But do yourself a favor and go and watch this with the audio, because I don't think I'm going to have it available here. It doesn't look like my cord is plugged in, and I don't know where it is, and I'm not going to waste any more time, so let's check that out. I'm going to pull it up. There we go. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the 100th season of the National Football League. Tonight is not about the league. It's about football.
So that guy with the pink hair was Ninja.
It's about the
Probably,
players.
most of you watching probably don't know who that
The
is.
fans. The moment.
I love that Marshall Lynch.
I know, right?
Everything
It
else
just makes it great.
that makes you say,
So obviously Goodell, Manning. That was Sue,
And
Singletary. Was that
I
J.J.
think
Watt?
it's JJ. Yeah.
There's Sue again.
So Montana Jerry Rice.
No can do,
Ah.
cowboy.
Dion. Oh my gosh.
I love that. It's my favorite part right there.
Damn, B. Y'all know I have more yards than they do. You still got it. Well, it hurt.
I love this part coming out, even though it kills me.
Slams him.
Boy, this is a big party. Get out there, man.
This is funny.
Full beast.
Is that Aaron Donald? Hey, two Penn Staters in the commercial.
he's open.
There's Mahomes. The OBJ.
I got you, Tony.
That's the cake.
Can I have the ball, please?
You want this? Come and get it.
So Saquon finishes with the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah.
So, hey, I'll take that. Yeah, so go watch it again and again and again, because it is awesome. It is an incredible commercial. I was so stoked to see it when it came out. I actually
that was a
didn't
good one.
see it live,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. Yeah, I actually saw that one live.
Yeah, I didn't see it live, but man, it was really cool. I watched it later that night. Like as soon as I posted it, someone was talking about it, saying how great the NFL did, and I was like, wow, I'm not sure you could pick a better
Right.
commercial that had everything.
Right,
It
it
had
was great.
all the greats.
I
And
did-
there immediately were people that turned it down for scheduling reasons that were like, I wish I would have found time to do that. And Troy Aikman was one of them.
So don't get me wrong. I understand why it wouldn't be in there, but I thought it would be funny if Cam Newton was there and backed away from the fumble like he was.
Oh my
he
gosh.
did.
Well, at least he has an excuse this time.
Right.
Did you see that in the last few games that he played, that he couldn't throw the ball more than like 27 yards or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Basically coming out and saying that if you had him on your fantasy team, Dad, That was unfortunate. So
We're fortunate. I mean,
depending on how you look at it.
Helps create a back-to-back champion. So.
Well, Super Bowl 53 is in the books. We are full on to 2019. Unfortunately, the Patriots have tied the Steelers now with 6 Lombardi trophies. Now, 2 of your
That's another one where
favorite
I'm like,
teams.
I don't really care.
6 in 18 years.
Yeah. Here's the thing. To me, my team has 1. So,
right.
And that one was a big one for me. The gap for me between my team having 0 and 1 is infinitely bigger than the gap of a team I really, really don't like having 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much how it goes.
I love every year seeing the graphics after the Super Bowl of, is a team moving up the ladder or are they still down at the bottom? And to see that a third of the league still has never won a Super Bowl, and I think actually a ton have never played in a Super Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, I've never seen my team in a Super Bowl, even when I was really young. I believe the Dolphins played in a Super Bowl basically 11 months before I was born. I think was the last time the Dolphins played, or I was a month old. It's in that area where basically the entire time I've been alive, the Dolphins have never played in a Super Bowl.
Details.
Yeah, just the little things. So we have a couple minutes here left. Why don't we do really early 2019 predictions?
Okay. Every team or just division winners?
Really quickly.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we can focus on the division winners. We don't have to mention every team.
But we can just say better or worse.
Yeah, we could do that. So why don't we do that? So, let's start out west and move our way east. So we'll do AFC West. So Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders.
I think the Chiefs are better. And I know they're really good this year, but I shouldn't say maybe better. I think they're still the best of the group. I think the Chargers are right there. I think Oakland baby step forward, and I think Denver. I think Denver step back, which is tough because they weren't that good this year. But
yeah,
I think they're heading in the wrong direction.
I know the Raiders have a ton of draft capital available, but it takes a while for that to develop. They at least have the quarterback because I don't think Derek Carr. Maybe he's not the long-term answer. A few years ago, everyone thought he was. Yeah. I don't think there's enough there to challenge the Chargers and Chiefs, and I think they're 2 at the top. Every year we see a team surprise. I have a hard time believing it's going to be the Raiders or the Broncos.
But the way the Chargers faded down the stretch a little bit in big games anyway. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes and
it's a quarterback league. Look at that division.
I mean, under
Broncos
the tutelage
didn't have
of friend of the show, Chad Henne.
True.
So
definitely have to talk to him next week about his adventures in Kansas City because this was his first year there, and being in that quarterback room with Patrick Mahomes and talking to him a lot about Mahomes' development while he's been there. So I think it's a Chiefs-Chargers division. I don't want to say necessarily who's going to win right now because it is so early with the draft and free agency and training camp obviously a ways off. But I think Chiefs-Chargers, I don't see why they would really drop off. If one of them is going to drop off, I would say it would be the Chargers and not the Chiefs.
Right, just because I feel like Phillip Rivers is on borrowed time to me.
Right. You never know when that person's going to take a step back. But if you look at Brady and Breeze, which we were on the bandwagon of Breeze falling off maybe this year, didn't happen.
Right, exactly.
All right. NFC West. So Seahawks, Cardinals, 49ers, Rams.
Cardinals are sorry, not the Cardinals. Niners are a real wild card here, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they
Very
get Jimmy
so.
Garoppolo back. It'll be interesting because when you have that, 1 year removed kind of thing, we kind of saw that in Philly this year. It's it can be really different. But anyway, that being said, I think Seattle takes it. I think Seattle is kind of reloading here for another set. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl or maybe even get to Super Bowl, but I think they've kind of regrouped and kind of reestablished some things. And I liked the way they played this year. I thought they kind of sounds terrible to say gave up on what they were, but they finally moved past what they
found
were.
the correct identity.
Right, yeah. And I think that's going to be huge. It's going to be interesting because isn't Russell Wilson due for a contract soon in the next couple of years? I think he has 1 year left maybe, so like he may get signed this off. I forget exactly how it is, but so anyway, that can throw a wrench in plans when you got to pay a quarterback, but whatever.
Right.
We'll see.
No, I agree with you. I think, again, it's a two-team race, but I do think the 49ers make it interesting with Garoppolo a year removed from the injury.
So what do you think with Kingsbury in Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals are going to surprise some people. They're not going to be as bad as they were this year. I think Rosen will take a step forward. I think that offense
By
could
bad,
be
you mean they were the
interesting.
worst team in football
Right,
this year,
they have the
so.
number one pick. And I don't expect them to be that bad again.
So do they draft the quarterback with the number one pick?
No, they do not.
No,
they go edge. I think they're going Bosa from Ohio State. That'd be my guess. They
You-
need some
you
help on
have
defense,
to.
too.
You
So
have to.
that would be my guess. Now, could they trade if one of the quarterback-needy teams falls in love with someone? Absolutely, that could happen. But I wouldn't be surprised.
So Kyler's
see
not
them.
going there, and Josh Rosen isn't on the trading block.
No, I that would be interesting, but no, I don't see that happening. So I think it is going to be Seahawks, Rams, the top spot.
Yeah.
49ers challenging. Cardinals better though.
Yeah, I think the Rams will be good. I think Seattle's getting better, and I think the Rams take a step back because I know they're going to have some free agency issues and things like that. Just because the guys they signed a lot of guys to big contracts this past season. So.
All right, so AFC South, the interesting division: Colts, Jaguars, Texans, Titans.
I think it's the Colts and Texans, and then a large gap, and the Titans and Jags.
Yeah,
Jags. I'm interested. Do they do anything with their quarterback position? They have to, right?
Well, the defense imploded.
Yep.
They couldn't get anything out of the running back position because of injuries and off the field issues.
Right.
Bortles apparently is
Fournette is on
certainly-
the edge of being a bust pick, right? Like,
which is crazy because when he's healthy and performing, he does really well. But
Right.
the thing is,
but
he
when
hasn't been able to
when
stay
you have
healthy.
to qualify it, right?
Right. Man, thread the needle there, but it's triple coverage. So, I think Jags are on the bottom, Titans are right there behind them, and I think it is a Texans-Colts showdown.
Which is awesome because you have Deshaun Watson against Andrew Luck.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm telling you, I think the Colts win it next year. I think
I'm actually right there with
Frank
you.
Reich, man.
Good.
I mean, got that going in the right
you
direction.
could see Andrew Luck over the first 5 weeks shaking off the rust and,
Right.
and getting that arm strength back and that
and
ability that he showed when he was in his early years in the league. And man, the Colts really responded and exploded. Other than that, in that weird week against the Jaguars near the end of the season, man, they had a great season.
And Frank Reich did that with like a makeshift, somewhat makeshift coaching staff because like some of the people were in place
were given to him.
Right. So like, man, you did that. That was incredible. That was fascinating.
My dad also says that if I were a Cowboys fan in my lifetime, I would have seen Dallas in the Super Bowl 4 times.
Yeah, but it was so long ago, you probably wouldn't remember it either. So don't
Or is it three times? I guess it was 3 times. 3 times that I would remember. No, I remember all 3 Cowboys over Bills. The 2 Cowboys over the Bills and the Cowboys over the Steelers. I remember watching all 3 of them. So.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're counting ones this millennia, so
so
I have a feeling I know it's going to pop up.
yeah, I'm sure there's a texting coming really quickly. So the the NFC South, a little bit of a surprise this year. Bucks, Saints, Panthers, Falcons. We actually were down on the Saints, and they proved us way wrong. What are you thinking about this year?
Man, I felt like I sold early on Drew Brees. Do I risk buying back in? Yeah, and there it is, and we were right.
Couple emojis.
But here's the thing. So if you say it's not going to be the Saints, who is it going to be?
Falcons. I'm buying low and selling high on Atlanta.
So
I think
they
they're going to
have a
bounce
change
back.
in offensive coordinator, which is good. They have a change in defensive coordinator, which is fine. I feel like they could have done that before, but yeah, I could see Atlanta winning it. I could see that happening.
Just because I don't want. I want to be proven right about the Saints eventually, and I feel like it
So if
has
you
to
pick
happen
them to
one
fall-
of these years. So I'm all on board.
So you're
with the
picking against the Patriots,
Saints are
right?
always going to
Picking
fall
against
apart.
the Patriots, right?
So the Saints are going to fall apart. Yeah. So I don't really know if that's going to happen, obviously, and I don't hope that's going to happen. I just thought it was going to happen, and it just wasn't. It just didn't happen. So I'm going to say Falcons, Saints, Panthers, Bucks is my order there.
I'm going to go Falcons, Saints, Bucks, Panthers.
Okay, I can see it. I can see it. You know, we were high on the Bucks a few years ago. It didn't work out, and now a lot has changed there.
Which means pencil the Panthers in for winning the division.
Right, yeah, very much so. Do you remember that year where, like, 8 years in a row, that division went from worst to first every single year?
Yeah.
Like, it was incredible. But that's the thing, like...
Okay, so if the Falcons don't make the playoffs, the coach is fired, right?
Yeah, same thing with Panthers.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, that is a make-or-break
And,
division for
okay,
sure.
so here you go. If they don't make the playoffs, I don't know contract situations, but you're also going to have some interesting conversations about quarterbacks in that division.
I don't think you will in Carolina, but I could see it coming up in Atlanta. At least I'm thinking about finding a successor.
And okay, so you could also say the same with the Saints. If the Saints fall off next year, you're going to have an interesting conversation there.
Well, are they going to re-sign Bridgewater?
I don't know that they will. It's not a strong class. He might get offered somewhere else.
Could. I don't know. We'll see. All right, AFC North. Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Browns. Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Browns, baby.
Browns winning the division,
Browns, baby, winning the division. Which team was trending better than them at the end of the season?
Not too many, if any.
Right.
Maybe the Colts.
Yeah.
After the Jaguars lost.
So I'd say I really like what they're doing. I think they're trending in the right direction. I think the Steelers are the most talented team in the division, though, and they should win it. But they need to get right.
They didn't even win it this year.
They need to get right, man.
So
what do you do? If you're the GM for the Steelers? What do you do, like with the AB situation? You can't trade him, right? You get. I like what they say. I feel like you call everyone in. You call Ben, AB, Tomlin, and this is maybe if you're one of the Rooneys, not the GM, and the GM. Yeah. So if you're one of the Rooneys, if you're Art Rooney the second or whatever, and you call them in the room and you're just like, you will make this work. Like there are no options here. You make
honestly,
it work.
I don't know what to say, but in this conversation of top to bottom for the AFC North,
to do that, AB keeps throwing in all these off the field stuff too, like legit off the field issues too. So
which is hurting the Steelers because now you think his value is going to be down because what if he's a suspension or something?
Right.
So I really think that while I would love to pick the Browns just because they're the lovable losers and haven't been anything and they haven't played in the playoff game in nearly 20 years.
When you look at it, you still think the Steelers are better.
I still that's
they are better than that. They still are better.
And the reason I can say that is because it would give me something that I haven't picked really yet, other than the Falcons, is a new team in the playoffs because they missed the playoffs this year. So, and I think the Ravens are going to fall off.
So with the Browns, though, Browns will give you.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just not confident enough there.
So
I think the Ravens are going to fall off. Just because I think people are going to look at the Lamar Jackson film and figure out how to stop him.
I would love for Lamar Jackson to come out and just be top 15 passer next year. Just because I think if he comes out and is a functional passer, man, does that make that division interesting all of a sudden.
That is very terrifying.
Just from a standpoint of I want to watch this kind of thing. I think it would be really cool. But... yeah, no, I can't. I don't disagree.
That's not a fumble.
No.
So I'm gonna go Steelers. I'll go Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Bengals.
I'm gonna go Browns, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals.
All right. NFC North: Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
Bears are gonna win it.
I feel like they have to.
They're gonna get Robbie Gould back to kick. So, but anyway, I think the Bears. I'm going to go Bears, Vikings, Packers, Lions. So is that what it was this year?
I believe so.
Oh.
I'm actually going to go Bears to shake it up. I'm going to go Bears, Lions.
Whoa.
Bears, Lions, Vikings, Packers.
Do you think Matt Patricia turns it around?
I'm going to say I'll give him the benefit of the doubt
the nuclear
here
physicist
that
or whatever
I
he
think
is.
they'll figure it out here in year 2. I mean, they beat the Patriots. They have potential there.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Matt Stafford,
but he's good enough.
You're on the back end of Aaron Rodgers'
Right.
career, and Kevin Cousins is a numbers guy, but not a team guy. And I don't mean that in a negative impact. I mean, like,
You
when
just
he
mean
puts
that-
up numbers, his team doesn't win.
Right.
Like, that's a problem.
Right.
I'm not saying he's a me first guy. I'm just saying, like, if he's getting numbers, his team is losing, which is, you don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
But, yeah, throw a wrench in there. That's what I'm going to go. I do think it's the Bears, but I'm going to say Lions second, and in the wild card conversation. AFC East.
Patriots, Dolphins.
Oh, God. You have the Dolphins, too?
No. Let's go Patriots, Bills,
Okay.
Dolphins, Jets.
All right.
No. Patriots, Bills, Jets, Dolphins. Sorry. When I look at it, even if I don't really like Sam, like if I'm not saying Sam Darnold, like I feel like he is only talked about because he's in New York.
Yeah.
Like he did have some flashes, but like no more than any other quarterback. It's still better than the quarterback situation Miami has right now. As of right now.
Well, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, because if they get rid of Tannehill,
right.
like they literally have Luke Falk is their next quarterback, who probably
so
should
you're bringing
be
in 2 quarterbacks.
He should be
or
in the
3.
AAF right now.
Yeah.
Like he should be playing right now.
Yeah.
The game that we're watching.
Right. Like as a Dolphins fan, you want the AAF to be like Winter League baseball, where guys that are on Major League rosters get sent there to play more and practice more.
Absolutely. So I think it's going to be Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins. I think the Jets are going to have a little bit of a turnaround.
I can see that.
The Dolphins' old coach, and then with Sam Darnold in the second year.
I'm riding the
you like the Josh Allen train?
Yeah, and just Buffalo. Like I don't know. I mean,
hey, it's all a crapshoot. The draft hasn't happened yet.
Right.
We haven't done free agency, so it's all kinds of up in the air. And actually, I forgot to play this earlier, so I'm going to play the Super Bowl highlights while we wrap up the discussion here, since we were just talking about the AFC East and home of the Patriots. So we'll play Patriots-Rams highlights here before we go.
What? This should take like 2 seconds.
Right,
there's like 3
nothing
plays.
happened. So,
but anyway. Okay, go ahead.
Are you done with AFC East?
I am done
All right,
with AFC.
NFC East: Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins. What are you thinking here? The division with your team in it.
I'm gonna go Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins.
Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins.
Yeah.
All right. I think that I will go. See, this is the thing, and this bit me last year when it came to the Eagles. Not 2018, 2017.
Yeah.
I can't decide. Between the Eagles and Cowboys, I want to have them 1-3. Because my 2 is the Giants.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to... And I know that's like, well, it's still Eli Manning. Yeah, I know. But maybe they put something else around, and Eli has another year. And maybe this will crash and burn, and they'll go 2-14. The coach will be fired, Eli will be gone, and they'll be picking a quarterback. I don't know.
So you don't think they're picking a quarterback this year?
No, I think they could, but is he going to have any impact this year? That's the question.
No, that's fair. But like, yeah, I mean it's a fair question, but I feel like at this point, couldn't almost any quarterback have an impact? Like either like crash and burn, like, and you said they're picking, top 3 next year,
right?
Or you get in that 5 to 6, 7-ish wins, but you're getting some dynamic plays out of your quarterback. Like I don't know that Eli Manning had a quote unquote dynamic play all year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now that's unfair because I feel like it's probably revisionist and like they had a bad season, so I'm kind of thinking that. But man,
my dad calls you a homer, by the way, just to let you know.
Yes, I am. A homer whose team has won a Super Bowl this millennium.
So just to make most of our listeners mad. I'm going to go Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Redskins.
I can't argue with it. Like, I think
it's a wide open division, other than maybe the Redskins, but that'll be the team that wins it. Just like when Chip Kelly first came on, I was like, well, this is anyone's division except the Eagles, and the Eagles won the division that year.
So, like, I think I'm going to go with
that was the play that I texted you.
That's the play that changes the game. I'm like,
what are you doing?
And he came off of the receiver. Like, you throw it away, he's going for it. Like, McVay is 100% going for that.
So my dad wants to know, where do we think Foles ends up?
Oof, I honestly have no idea. And it's going to be really interesting because there's all this talk about how the Eagles... Now, none of this is coming necessarily from the Eagles, but people just guessing what was going to happen. That if the Eagles franchised him, that he could challenge it because it's not in good faith because they're going to try and trade him then. And you can't franchise someone with the intent to trade.
Purpose to do that.
But, so it'll just be interesting to see how that goes. But anyway, there's the monster pun, I think. But I think it would be interesting if he went somewhere like Jacksonville would be interesting.
Well, I think your main candidates are, obviously the Redskins would want him, but that's not happening. I don't think anyone...
Unless he's a free agent. If he's a free agent,
that's
then
true. I'm
he can go
thinking
anywhere.
Trade.
Right.
I don't think anyone in the AFC East makes sense.
No.
Even though people will be like, well, the Dolphins need a quarterback, but they're not. They are now in the process.
Right.
They are now in that.
Yeah.
And why would they need Foles?
Right. They want to be bad.
Point? Yeah.
They want to be bad this year.
So
what? Luke Falk is that?
Yeah.
He might be your quarterback.
He could be the quarterback. I don't know. We'll see. But then you're talking about the North. Well, Bengals, but they just praised Andy Dalton.
Right, and
Lamar
they
Jackson's
hired a
there.
quarterback coach.
Right.
So
Baker Mayfield's there. Ben Roethlisberger, no, not going there. Vikings, no.
Bears,
no. Lions,
Packers,
no. Packers, no.
Right.
So now Titans, no.
Right.
Jaguars, there's
Maybe.
one. Texans and
No.
Colts, no. So where are we at right now? The Jaguars?
Yeah.
So Tampa Bay, probably not. Not
No.
right now. The next year, maybe, but not this year. Saints, no. Panthers, no. Falcons, no.
Right.
So now you're going to look out west, and you have the Broncos. That's a possibility. Chargers, no. Chiefs, no. Raiders, probably not unless they're getting rid of Carr.
Yeah, but I still don't think they take. Foles.
Are you right?
The only interesting tidbit there is that Mike Mayock is a Philly guy.
True.
And he's the GM there now, but Gruden's calling the shots there.
Then you have Cardinals, no.
No.
Seahawks, no. Rams,
no.
And 49ers, unless Garoppolo has a setback, no.
Right.
So is it down to Jaguars, Broncos?
Right.
Unless he's a free agent where you could possibly throw Giants and Redskins in.
Right.
So, I mean, the Eagles aren't going to get a great return because you're only going to have two teams bidding.
Right. But you have to think that he knows that now, right? Like, his agent has to know what that market for him will be. And if that's the case, right, if there is no market, would you fight the franchise tag from the Eagles and then take $25 million? You know,
Right.
like, I don't know. But I wish him nothing but the best, honestly, until he signs with a team that the Eagles have to play. And then, but, like, you know, like, I'm forever indebted to him. He won a Super Bowl in Philly.
Right.
But they did the right thing. You go with Wentz, who's now going to be, you know, hopefully fully healed from the ACL thing. I'm not the back, that'll heal too. And he'll be able to train this offseason. Like, yeah, that's much better. So,
well, there you go. So we really think Jaguars, Broncos are bust unless he ends up becoming a free agent, and then I think he can maybe throw two or three other teams in there.
right.
So, well, I think that's pretty much it. The highlights are coming to an end. We want to wrap up the show now. We're going on an hour. And, well, you know, it was a great NFL season. Thanks for hanging out with us for most of it. I know we missed the beginning, middle part because of the flood and everything we had going on with Wilson. And it was great covering it. We'll be back again. Obviously, we're having a we're going to continue NFL talk next week because we have an NFL quarterback joining us.
That's crazy.
So you probably want to ask him a few questions. So please get those questions into us. Not necessarily just for Chad or about Chad and the NFL and his time at Michigan or Wilson or whatever, but ask us general sports questions and we'll have Chad answer them. I think it'll be a lot of fun for him, like I said at the beginning of the show, to talk baseball, to talk hockey, to talk basketball, college and pro, any of that kind of stuff. So come up with some creative and interesting questions, and Justin, me, and Chad will answer them next week on episode 273. So as the Super Bowl highlights come to a close, the show comes to an end. Justin, do you have anything to add? Any shout-outs, anything to say?
No. Happy birthday to my sister. It's this week.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday. Early birthday to Andrea. And actually, happy birthday to Uncle Rich, celebrating this week. I always know because it's the same time that the shop celebrates an anniversary. So, so happy early birthday to Andrea and Rich, New England Rich or Massachusetts Rich, whatever we call him. He's still, I'm sure, celebrating the Patriots' 6th Super Bowl title. Yeah. So, next week got a big one. Remember, stay tuned to our Facebook, Twitter pages, and send us emails with your questions. And I think that's everything. So thanks for watching this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. We'll be back in 1 week.
Thanks for listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. Tune in every Sunday for the latest sports discussions from Joe and Justin. Each episode is available live
on Facebook Live
and can be downloaded or streamed on iTunes and SoundCloud. You can interact with Joe and Justin on Facebook and Twitter, and stay up to date with the guys at joemaysandjraff.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is part of the JMNJR Radio Network. For more info, visit jmnjrradio.com.